Hello, everyone. My name is Jaime Medrano. Welcome to my presentation, Empowering First Generation Students, a Financial Aid Literacy Module. This project was created as part of my LTDE 6300 capstone at Houston Christian University. And today, I'll walk you through the project while focusing specifically on risk management and escalation planning. The purpose of this presentation is to outline how I plan to manage risk and escalation for my instructional design project. The project centers on supporting first generation students as they navigate the financial aid process. Since this presentation is part of my capstone, it reflects both the progress I've made and the systems I'll use to anticipate and address challenges. This project is titled Empowering First Generation Students, a Financial Aid Literacy Module, and it was developed in partnership with Houston Christian University's admissions and financial aid offices. And the main audience is high school seniors who are first generation college students, along with their families. The scope includes simplifying the FAFSA process and explaining types of aid and providing practical resources to help with affordability. The overarching objectives of the project are fourfold. First, to increase FAFSA completion rates. Second, to equip students and their families with practical knowledge on financial aid. And third is to provide admissions counselors with reusable resources they can use during advising and said financial aid appointments. And finally, to support HCU's overall goals of enrollment and retention by breaking down barriers tied to financial aid. The key milestones of this project include designing the FAFSA module, integrating multimedia tools like Canva and Weebly to engage students, and testing the module with a small group of students and refining the content based on feedback. Each milestone is tracked to ensure progress and alignment with both students' needs and stakeholder expectations. Now, this project it has several strengths. And first, it aligns directly with the needs of first gen students. It makes it highly relevant. And second, it follows instructional design best practices by focusing on clarity, accessibility, and scaffolding information. And third, the project benefits from strong institutional and stakeholder support, which gives it credibility and ensures buy in. Like any project, though, there are weaknesses to account for. And one is that financial aid policies, particularly FAFSA requirements, they change regularly, which makes it challenging to keep content fully up to date. And a second is that not all families have consistent access to technology. So both digital and print-based versions are necessary. And finally, counselors often have limited time, which may create barriers to fully integrating the module into their advising and financial aid appointments. This project presents opportunities as well. It has the potential to empower a large number of first generation students by making FAFSA completion less intimidating. That's the whole point of this process here, because there are many students that have access to both free money and borrowed money. And sometimes it's the lack of understanding of what that even looks like that will hinder or stop someone from even getting started. And so it could also serve as a scalable module, though, that other universities or school districts could adopt. And lastly, it opens doors for collaboration with community organizations, with local churches, both big and small, or even nonprofit organizations that share the mission of improving access to higher education. And specifically in the realm of Houston Christian, it would be access to Christian higher education. And of course, there are also threats to consider. One is resistance to change, especially if stakeholders feel this project adds extra work or conflicts with existing systems, and another is limited funding or resources, specifically speaking with Houston Christian being a Hispanic serving institution, which could affect sustainability and updates over time. A third threat is the possibility of low engagement from students or families if the material isn't presented in a way that feels relevant, supportive, easy to read, understand, maybe even needing translation services. But yeah, it needs to be very, very accessible for our families, especially first gen students. My risk management plan includes three key elements. And first, it's consistent milestone tracking so progress stays on schedule. And second, early identification of risks to catch challenges before they escalate. And third, strong communication with stakeholders to ensure transparency and shared responsibility for problem solving. For escalation, my plan is to notify stakeholders immediately if any milestone falls behind schedule. Time is money. If necessary, I'll propose reallocating resources or adjusting timelines accordingly. And if risks become more significant, I will escalate them to higher level leadership who can potentially provide additional guidance or resources to keep the project on track. And here are some practical examples of how I plan to respond to risks. If information becomes overwhelming, the solution is simplified visuals to keep the content digestible. If families lack technology, I'll provide print based materials along with mobile first priority designs. If counselors' time is limited, I'll embed the module into existing advising practices rather than adding new responsibilities. Evaluation will occur in three ways. First, students will complete pre and post surveys to measure their confidence and understanding. And second, admissions counselors will provide feedback on the usability of the module itself. And third, usage analytics from Weebly will help track how often and how effectively the module is being accessed and used. Now, the anticipated outcomes include higher FAFSA completion rates and greater confidence among first generation families and consistent tools for admissions counselors. And together, these outcomes contribute to reducing barriers and promoting persistence at Houston Christian University. The next steps are to pilot the module with incoming students, gather and analyze feedback, and then refine the module. After improvements are made, the module can be scaled for broader use across the institution and potentially even beyond. But in conclusion, financial literacy is empowerment. First generation students deserve clarity, not confusion. And this project demonstrates how instructional design can close critical gaps by making financial aid accessible, understandable, and actionable. With effective risk management and escalation planning, the project is positioned for long term success. Thank you. And these are the resources I use in designing and supporting this project, including instructional design frameworks, federal financial aid resources, and course materials from Houston Christian University. Thank you.